under his collar. 2 moves so smooth others would see them as simply the affectionate touches from a lover. "Why?" She squeezed down onto his arm. "Talk normal." She slid her hand inside her coat for a second, and then picked up her beer and took a drink. His brows rose, knowing he could hear her perfectly now. "Cool." His oblong head bobbed up and down with approval, in sync to the throbbing beat. "Get to the point," she said, sipped her beer, and gazed past his face to the spasming crowd. "All business," he complained, his eyes glancing about the room but ending up at her breasts. "Let's dance." He grabbed her hand and started to pull on her, but with one twist she had his pinky contorted and pulled him back to the bar. She let him go. "The Abo men will kill me," the man whispered loudly. "What do you know? I want names, plans, and locations." "I don't know that much," he pled, his eyes focused now across the dance floor. "Shit! They're here." "Who's here? Can you protect me?" "No, you're just some blonde supermodel. These men will kill me." She tried her best to see what he saw, tried also to figure out the man's accent. Was he Danish? She didn't think so. She was only told that they thought he was Scandinavian, but now she wasn't sure. Maybe Baltic. "The 2 men at the other end of the bar," she said, forcing herself not to look at them but knowing they were concentrating on the 2 of them. The throng of people around them seemed to be collapsing in on them in a wave. She should have never agreed to meet him here. No control. He shook his head and said, "Soon, in America, all over the world. You can't stop them." She was about to strangle this guy. "Who? Give me names." Suddenly the man's face went blank as he fell toward her. She caught him and lowered him to the floor, her left hand feeling warm moisture, and she knew exactly what that was. Blood foamed out the side of his mouth. He was dead by the time he lay onto the hard cement floor. Her eyes scanned the crowd, settling on the back of a head above the others, moving away, a thick blonde skull with short cropped hair. She removed the contacts, earpiece, and mic, and pocketed them, her eyes peering around the crowd and back toward the 2 men across the bar. They were gone. Damn it! Nobody seemed too concerned, probably thinking this man was drunk and had slipped. The 2 had distracted them while another moved in. Not having time to think, she needed to move fast, find the 2 she could identify. She slipped through the horde of people on the dance floor, concentrating mostly on the balcony. There would be a lookout. A tall man scooted back behind a pillar. "Hurry, Sirena." Quickening her pace, she almost reached the front door when a hand grasped her right shoulder from behind. Swiveling to her right and simultaneously wrapping her right arm over a man's leather-clad arm, she snapped a kick to the large man's right knee, buckling him. Followed that with an elbow to the guy's jaw as he fell, and he immediately crumpled to the floor just like her contact had. She sensed movement from behind, caught a quick glimpse of another man, his eyes wild, approaching her swiftly, and she just had time for a rear kick, planting her pump into the man's crotch. He hit the floor on his knees, his hands covering his groin. She left him there and ran outside, where she noticed men climbing into the first 2 of 4 cabs waiting at the curb. Getting into the 3rd cab, she told the driver to drive. Nothing more. All 3 cabs ran in tandem, the first 2 close together and Sirena's back a ways, she having the driver keep their distance. She pulled off the wig and wiped the blood from her left hand, where she had touched her contact's knife wound, getting most of it onto the fake white locks. Then she ran her right hand through her thick black curly hair like a comb, fluffing it over her shoulders. Now she tied the wig into a tight ball, powered down the window, and flung it out into the darkness, putting the window up in a hurry.